What's up guys, back again. Today is another day, another video. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sorting out the bodywork on the car. So in the last video you might have seen that we sorted out all the suspension work and we brought the wheels straight. So now what we're going to tackle is the front end and the bodywork. So somewhere in this video you might see that I've purchased a new wing. Guys, I've spent the afternoon looking for a new wing for the BMW M2. I've come across a few items on eBay. We're going to be going and picking one up. I'm just going to turn the camera around. So these are the items we found. I've tried contacting this guy. I wanted something in the same color. Sorry, it's the wrong one. So that we don't have to paint it. But I've contacted this guy and I've contacted this guy. They both got it at 350 quid. The only one who's responded to me is this guy here for 180 quid, and it's got a few little dents in it, but it's the right color and it's not something that can't be repaired. Previously I've bought wings in the past where I've gone for the correct color without any damage, only to come back and find there's a mismatch in color. So worst case scenario, it's gonna need painting anyway. That'll be a cost on top of the 350. So I'd rather pay the 180 and we can paint the wing to match the bumper and blend it in together. I've made him an offer of 150. He did say he'd accept it, so we're gonna go and pick that up right now.
A few moments later.
It's not a new wing, but it's a used wing, but it's much better than the one we've got in the car. Now the main thing is, the reason why I've got another wing is so that all this is straight, nice and straight, so we can line everything back up. Now I know someone out there may be able to repair this wing, but we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to stick that wing on there. It's got a few dents that can easily be sorted out, and yeah, so once that's on there, this will stop catching. So at the moment what's happening is this is catching on the wheel because the car's been lowered. So we're going to sort that out today, and at the same time I've got myself a new lens for the headlight. So we're going to fit that up and hopefully all this can look straight today. So keep watching and hopefully I can get this done tonight. So yeah, let's get cracking. So first thing I want to do is pop the bonnet, get that out of the way, because the bonnet is undamaged and as is the door and the side skirt. So what we're going to do is pop the bonnet out of the way and get the car jacked up so that we can get started. I might pop the wheel back off so we've got a bit of room to work with, and I don't want to damage anything else, so I'm going to start off by masking this off and then slowly start to take all the clips and everything off and unscrew it all so that we can start removing that wing. At the same time, I am going to be removing the headlight. I'll show you how I put a new lens on that, so keep on watching. So first thing we've got to do is we've got to pop these little clips out. So it's like a push through little clip where it's a 2-part clip, sorry, where you push it through. So now that we've got all that taped up, doors taped up, and we've taped the A-pillar up so that doesn't get damaged when we're removing the wing, we need to pop these off. So pop these clips off, and then we've got access to the 10mm bolt that sits behind it. Right, so I didn't realise we've got the arch liner that comes all the way down the bottom here, and it's got 2 extra 8mm bolts. So actually it's got 3 extra 8mm bolts there, so we're going to have to take them off. I'm not sure if this is connected to the wheel arch liner, but I've never come across another car with so many screws and bolts holding in the actual wheel arch liner. So we're just going to crack on with that now. And just notice there's a little crack here, but it's not significant enough for us to need to change the wheel arch liner. So a bit of fiddling around and that's popped right off, and surprisingly the wing is really easy to take off. I mean, look, it's all loose right now. So what I'm going to do is the last bolt that's left, so it looks like there's another 10mm bolt here. Just move the camera over for you guys to have a look. So we've got another 10mm bolt there facing upwards, just can see right there, and then we've also got another one in the far back side, the one we could see the head of on the other side of the door. So once I pop them 2 off, it's free to come out.
A few moments later.
And there we have it, we've got the wing off after a little bit of a struggle. So get that one out of the way, and before I stick the new one on there, just to get that on the camera and show you guys the difference between both wings. You can see where it's kinked there. This one's nice and straight. So didn't take much effort for us to remove that. So what we're going to now do is we're going to crack on with trying to take the headlight out. So for that we might need to remove the front bumper. Almost there, about this way. There we go. That's out now, guys. So now, having a look at it, doesn't seem to have much damage. All the clips, this is the clip that was causing the issue. Obviously I've snapped it off now, so I'll replace that one. You can see all the lugs for the headlight, perfectly fine. If the lugs were damaged, I believe you can get a repair kit which bolts into these holes right here to repair that. Again, you see down here, it's got holes, but it's perfect. It's not damaged to any of the lugs. We've got a bit of damage here, but that can be repaired. Got a little crack there, but we can just plastic roll that. Other than that, everything else looks perfectly fine. Perfectly fine, I'd say. Okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the new wing back on. That way I can see if the bumper sits nicely, because obviously it's been sitting in a way that it's just kind of taking shape to that damage. So once we get the new wing back on, that should straighten itself out, and by the time we get to repairing it and painting it up, it should have formed its shape again. Yeah, so bracket is slightly bent, so we'll order a new one from the dealers. I'll show you that right here. So the back bracket there is bent. If you have a look at that bracket there, that one's bent, so it should line up to this area here. We can possibly straighten it out, but it's always better to get a new one. I don't think that's really expensive, unless of course it's around £50. We shall just knock that out and get it back into place. So yeah, that bit's done for now. Now I can crack on with the headlight.
A few moments later.
After a bit of faffing around off camera, I've managed to stick the wing in place and temporarily bolt it up. So I'm just going to turn, as you can see, I've bolted that back in. So hopefully that starts to take shape again. We've got to give it a bit of heat to get it exactly back to where it needs to be, because obviously you've got to bear in mind it's probably been sitting like that for a few months out of shape. So that's nice and tight on there, and if you can see, the wing just needs a little adjustment for it to go back into place. So unlucky that we were unable to find the wing which was clean. You'll see a video on that where I searched for the wing, and you'll see why I couldn't get a wing in the same color. We did find a few examples obviously, but the sellers didn't get back to us. So it's such a shame, because the color match is perfect under this lighting. So yeah, just gonna crack on with the headlights now. I know I said it a few times, but now it's time to crack on with the headlight. I'm just gonna stick the wheel back on and drop the car down. The headlight I may film the headlight over a day or two, because that's going to take a bit of time, but you'll see it in the video anyhow.
One eternity later.
So guys, onto the headlight now. As you can see, damaged. We're going to sort this out now. The lens is right here. Before we start, we want to make sure it's the right side, because I did order this previously and it came for the passenger side instead of the driver's. So now we've got the driver's side. I'm going to put that aside for now. So what we're going to do is we want to first take away the lens. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to chop as much as I can off with a multi-cut. So multi-cut is here. We're going to chop that away. I've removed this bracket which sat down there, 2 T30 screws, just loosened them and then it slid out. Cleaning the headlight was pretty difficult because it had accumulated so much dust over the past few months. All the dust that it accumulated had to have been from the car park or the parking lot in Copart. So I had to thoroughly do this and make sure there was not a single bit of dust left inside. So now that the headlight's been cleaned out, it was time to move on and repair the circuit board on the indicator. So it's now time to solder this back up. This should be pretty easy. I mean, it just requires a bit of solder. I've adjusted the clip and rested it in place to where it should be. Just gonna wait for the soldering iron to warm up and then we shall slowly and carefully solder these pins back into place. I've got to be careful not to damage the small resistors right there. so I don't want to give too much heat. I'm going to try and do this nice and quickly. Just wait for that to warm up. After soldering that back up, it was time to test it and see if it works. Like that. If we grab the key, we should be able to test it by unlocking it. So here goes. Just make sure that's recording on camera. Here goes. Try the indicator. Bismillah, this works. Maybe not. So we've got a bit of an issue. That could have possibly taken some water damage when it was out in the open. So I went back to soldering and I noticed there was a bit of solder going from this pin right here to the other one. Only a very thin piece of solder, and I added a bit more solder to this one. So hopefully this does the trick, because if it doesn't, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. So here goes. Inshallah it works. And we'll give it another try. Yes! It's working, guys. Oh my days. Oh yes. Done it. It works. Oh man, you don't know. Oh, that's saving a lot of headache, you know that? It's actually working. Let's see if we've got an error on the dash. So we've got no errors in the dash. Showing up with no errors. Fight with the key. Yes, I've done it. It's working. Woo! Headlights are all working. LEDs for the angel lights are working. So now I can put it back together. I'm well chuffed with that. Let's try it again. Make sure it is working and I'm not dreaming. Yep, that's working. Okay, now I can start gluing it and putting it back together. At this point I had made a massive error, but I'll leave that till the end of the video so you can see what that was. Now I didn't record much of this part, but basically what I was doing, I was straightening out the bent radiator cowl, or the bracket that holds the radiator that sits right in front of the wheel. So after another hour of messing around, I finally managed to put it all back together, and this is the end result. You can see everything's back in place. Just going to close the bonnet to make sure that everything lines up. Just going to turn the camera around. So it's the bonnet going down, and there you have it. everything's all lined up and back in place. Just got to test the headlight. Not tested that yet, let's just make sure it's still working. So the headlight's working, as you can see, everything's lit up. Indicators work. And that's lined up pretty well. In the next video guys, before the car goes to the body shop, I'm going to start to modify it. So I've got quite a few carbon parts for it. Front lip, side skirts, rear diffuser and the exhaust. So watch this space. And yeah, I did mention at the start of the video, or somewhere in the video, that I did make a massive mistake. And just going to show you what that mistake was. If I turn the camera back round again. So, probably something that you guys won't notice, and to be fair, 99% of people will not notice. But when I was putting the headlight back together, I did miss a bit out, and that bit was this bit right here, which goes around the projector lens. But as you can see, you can barely tell that it's missing. And by the time I realized that it was missing, I had glued the headlight back up. Because I glued the headlight back up, it would have been way too messy for me to take it back apart and then try do it again. But you know, I'll just have to live with it. I'll keep that anyway, just in case if I ever need to take the headlight apart for any reason. At least I've got the bit there. And yeah, just enjoy guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.